This is a good tier list. A very, very good tier list. And if you don't agree, then fuck you. Okay, I think we're ready to start now. Alright, I'm gonna... Alright. Hello, YouTube, and hello to everyone in my Twitch chat. So, today I'm going to be talking about my own tier list that I made. A weapon tier list. This tier list is based off of, this is a comp tier list. Comp/SKM. And this tier list is based off of my opinion, and only my opinion, okay? A lot of these weapons, a lot of you guys are gonna agree, a lot of comp players will agree about this list, but there are also some parts where I feel like not everyone is gonna agree, and that's fine. Everyone has their own opinions, so... But I made this tier list. This is my own tier list, so now this video is gonna probably... It's gonna take a long time. I think this might take a long time. I'm gonna take my time to explain why I put all of these, so in the different tiers. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to be holding the cursor over the weapon that I will be talking about. So you guys don't have to so you guys can skip to the weapon that you want to hear about if you don't want to watch the whole thing. So yeah. So this is, again, SKM/comp tier list. This is not a dual tier list. This is not a frontline tier list. It's not a ranked tier list. It's a SKM/comp tier list. Okay. Alright, so let's start. So the way that I've made this, I have a broken tier, a high tier, alright tier, and weak tier. Alright, let's begin. So in the broken tier at the very top, I'm gonna start from here. The pole hammer is without a doubt the top here for me. If you guys didn't know, in EU and in NA, the pole hammer is now suddenly the most popular SKM weapon now. Like, I have no idea what happened, but when this weapon first released, no one played it. This weapon was like the least popular weapon in the game when it first came out, and but now it's like the most popular. Everyone uses this in every single competitive SKM match. If you go to Skalograd, there will at least be one on every single team. And there's a good reason for this. The weapon is extremely fucking broken for SKM. It's a true turret to kill weapon, which automatically makes a weapon in the broken tier. It has it's one of the longest weapons in the game. It has extremely amount of range, insane switching potential. But the weapon is also like it can combo, but I don't think it matters too much, because like you don't really need, like, this weapon has broken fucking animations. You don't even need like good swingman, in my opinion, to like do well with this weapon. Like, this weapon has such broken animations, such broken overheads, and its damage is just fucking insane. So yeah, this is why the pole hammer is here at the top. It's also insane for dueling, so it has very high amount of stamina drain. Do I have more to talk about the pole hammer? I think there's probably more to be said about the pole hammer, but I think that's about it for this one. If you guys have watched my streams, I never played a pole hammer, because I think this is one of the most boring weapons in the game to play. Fuck me, this weapon is boring. But holy shit, it's the most popular weapon, both in NA and in EU for SKM. Very, very boring weapon to play. Alright, next weapon. Evening Star, man. The Evening Star. Ever since the fucking release of this game, the Evening Star has always been at the top. This weapon has always been the most broken weapon in the game. And it's like, this weapon has been nerfed like so many times. It's been nerfed so many times, and it's still the fucking most broken fucking weapon in the game. It has insane stamina drain, insane damage, insane, broken animations, insane swing manip, easy swing manip. It can even combo, and it has alright range. It has alright switching potential. Just an extremely broken weapon, man. Next weapon, Halberd. Alright, so this weapon, also one of the most annoying weapons to fucking go against in this game. The normal mode Halberd is like kind of mid-tier in my opinion. But the all mode Halberd, fuck me, the all mode Halberd is probably the best dueling weapon in the entire game. This weapon, fucking broken. Insane switching potential, insane, alright damage, it can two-shot in the head. It has, in SKM, it's just absolutely broken. Insane stamina drain, so you're probably gonna lose. Every time you go in a duel against this weapon, you're probably gonna lose. Because of its insane swing manip, its insane stamina drain. Yeah, that's about it for the Halberd, or should I say the all mode Halberd. If this was only normal mode Halberd, I would probably just put it in the alright tier. But we're talking about mainly the all mode. Take a shot every time, he says insane. True. True late. Increase pace? Fuck you, shots. I am not increasing the pace. Alright. Now the Bastard Sword, man. Oh my fucking god. The Bastard Sword. Now, this is a very unpopular opinion, man. A lot of people are gonna disagree with me about this, but I actually like the Bastard Sword. I think that the Bastard Sword being this broken is actually good for the game. I like this weapon so much, man. Now, the Bastard Sword is extremely fucking broken, man. It recently got a new patch where it went from the slash on the Bastard Sword went from 4 hit to kill to 3 hit to kill. And this was probably the most insane fucking change in like the history of combat in Mordhau, like the weapon combat. Now, the reason why I like this weapon so much is because if you look at this tier list, you'll see that most of the one-handed weapons, they're in the weak tier. And like all the one-handed weapons, they're just weak, man. Especially in SKM. They're not that bad for duels, but in SKM they're fucking terrible. And I'm glad that we have a weapon that's actually like fucking broken. I'm glad that we have a one-handed weapon that's at least like in the top tier. That's fucking broken. When you play the Bastard Sword, one-handed Bastard Sword, you feel so fucking powerful, man. You feel so powerful. This weapon is fucking broken. It has the best morphs in the entire game. You can argue that it even has the best stab in the game as well. It has the most insane fucking... Its stamina drain is not that good, but it doesn't matter because you're gonna be hitting your opponent so many times that you'll probably never lose on stamina. And you're gonna force your opponent to chamber like 90% of its stabs, man. Absolutely fucking broken weapon. And this weapon is annoying to fight against. It's so annoying to fight against. It's probably one of the best dueling weapons in the game. And it's definitely a top tier weapon for SKM as well. Some would argue that the Bastard Sword is not as strong in 5v5. And I can kind of understand that. Because the Bastard Sword... The only thing the Bastard Sword lacks is switching potential. But it has everything else, man. You want to play this weapon in 2v2? Go for it. You want to play this weapon in 3v3? Go for it. It's absolutely insane. If you want to play this weapon in 5v5, it's alright. Because it's not a 2-hit to kill. It's not a 2-hit to kill, so it's not gonna take up the 2-hit to kill spot. So I think this weapon is definitely worth playing, even if you're in a 5v5. So yeah, I love the Bastard Sword, man. I love this weapon. So Crush, if you're watching this, please don't nerf this weapon. Let it stay. Let it stay at the broken tier. Let it stay here. And here's a tip for all of you guys who plays this game often. If you guys want to play competitive Mordhau, but you don't want to put in like 2 to 3k hours to get good at swing manip like people like me does, then play the Bastard Sword, man. You do not need to learn. You do not need to be good at swing manip to fucking slay with this weapon. All you need is good stabs. You need some good morphs. You need to know when to feint and stuff. and then you can absolutely slay out. You do not need swingman up. So if you don't want to spend thousands of hours becoming the best player in the game and swingman up, then play this weapon. Alright, that's enough for the best sword. Next weapon, Maul. The Maul is like, it has always been a top tier weapon because of its insane damage. It has the most damage in the game. Can one shot in the head, a tier 3 head. It has the most stamina stamina drain in the game. I believe it's like 24 stamina drain, right? Absolutely insane, man. One of the best dueling weapons in the game, as long as it doesn't get counterpicked. And in SKM, like very often, like one of the teams gets a kill like the first like 2 seconds in the round because someone just got fucking one shot by the Maul, and then they snowball from there. It's a very, very fucking, very broken weapon. Very fucking good weapon. It does lack a little bit of range, and the weapon can get counterpicked by light armor. So it definitely has its weaknesses, but I would still put it in the broken tier. If this weapon had a little bit more range, I would probably put it on the same level as Polehammer, but it's too... The Maul is very fucking easy to lean back. Very easy to lean back. But it can be very fucking rewarding. One of the most rewarding weapons in SKM, for sure. And also one of the most high risk too. Executioner Sword. This weapon is also... I also put this as the last weapon in the broken tier. Just because, like... I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there's something about the swingman on this weapon. Like, it feels so fucking easy. Its swingman feels so easy to do, man. I have no idea why. But it's a 2-hit to kill weapon. It has broken animations. It has easy swingman. It can combo, so you can actually lean back this weapon a lot. But it's a weapon that can cleave. It's a weapon that 2 hits. It's a weapon that has good switching. I wouldn't say good switching potential, but alright switching potential. So yeah, this is why I put this in the broken tier. Okay, next. Now we're done with the broken tiers. Let's move on to the high tier. So at the top of high tier, I have put the Zweihander. Now this is one of the weapons that I think not everyone is gonna agree with. Yo, what the f- Oh my god, Cognitor. Jesus Christ, man. Five gifted subs?
Of course I am, because you're still...
Oh, no. Yo, thank you, Cognitor. Thank you. I'm probably gonna need to turn down the volume for this a little bit.
Yes, of course I am, because you're still the fucking worst.
But, yeah, thank you so much, Cognitor. Thank you. 5 gifted subs? Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, of course I am.
In duels, Zwei broken. In SKM, not. Yeah, you're right. Zweihander is definitely better in duels than SKM. For sure.
Yes, of course I am, because you're still the fucking worst Elite 5 player.
Thank you so much. Jesus Christ. Thank you, Cognitor. Thank you. Thank you. Alright, This is so broken that I'm gonna sub then unsub. Shut up, Parser. Fuck you. Alright, so the Zweihander, the reason why this weapon is not in broken tier is because this weapon is way better for duels than it is in SKM. But this weapon is still insane at SKM. There's a reason why this weapon is at the highest of high tier. This weapon, it can 2-hit to kill if you hit 2 headshots on a tier 3. It has almost the longest range in the game. So it has insane amount of switching potential. And the weapon can combo, making it already one of the strongest SKM weapons. And you could argue that this weapon should actually go in broken tier. Because, in my opinion, what makes a weapon... One of the things that makes a weapon good for SKM/comp is like... Is the weapon a 2-hit to kill or not? Does the weapon take up one of the 2-hit to kill spots? Because in comp mod, you can't have, or at least in EU, I don't think this is the same, I don't think this is the case in NA, but in EU, you can only have max 2-hit to kill 2 hitters per team. Well, it depends on if you're playing 2v2 or 3v3 or 5v5. And the Zweihander, since it's not a true 2-hit to kill, it doesn't even take up one of the 2 hit to kill spots. So that makes it that in my opinion, if you want to put it in the broken tier for an SKM/comp weapon, I actually won't disagree with you there. If you want to put it in broken tier for that, you can actually do that. But I decided to put it in highest high tier because it's not even a 2 hit to kill weapon. If it was a true 2 hit to kill weapon, it definitely would be broken tier, in my opinion. But it is a free to kill weapon, so but yeah, that's my opinion on the Zweihander. So alright, pole axe. This weapon, one of the best weapons for SKM. There should always be pole axes on your team for a tryhard SKM match. This weapon has very good 2 hit to kill potential. It has very good stamina drain. It has very good switching potential. It has good damage. It has good stabs. It has a good ult mode. It has a good normal mode. You can choose if you want to go ult mode, where the weapon becomes a blunt weapon, or you can choose to play it in normal mode, where the weapon is a cleave weapon, a sharp weapon. If you actually play normal mode, the weapon gets a lot faster. But most people use the ult mode, which is understandable because you get more damage, you get an extra stamina drain. The weapon feels a lot more satisfying to play, and it feels easier to swing mana because it's not too fast, it's not too slow either. And the weapon doesn't take up the 2 hit to kill spot, even though you 2 hit to kill very often with this weapon. So very very good weapon. Maybe I would put this higher than Zweihander. I don't know. They're around the same tier, but definitely a top weapon. You could also put it in S tier or the broken tier. I would understand if you actually do that. Oh my god, I need that sprite, man. Yeah, and its animations too, man. This weapon hits like a truck, man. Insane animations. Okay. Next one, the War Axe. This one is very interesting because a lot of comp players will not agree with this. A lot of comp players will say this weapon is dog shit. They will say this weapon is terrible for a 2 hit to kill. And I kind of agree. For a true 2 hit to kill weapon, this weapon could actually be higher. It should be higher since it's a 2 hit to kill weapon, but it's in the high tier, but I still think that this weapon is underrated. It's extremely fast. It 2 hit to kills. It can combo. Like, it can kill you so fucking fast. The only problem this weapon has is its range, of course. Its range is like, it doesn't have a lot of switching potential, and it always gets footwork. Like, its drags, its swings they're easy to mess up. But this weapon has so high reward. Like, you can actually make this weapon work out if you want to play it. Voice correct. If you want to play War Axe, you can actually do that. I mean, of course, there are better options than the War Axe. It's probably the weakest 2 hit to kill in the game, along with the Partisan, but it's not as bad as people think. Like, this weapon can be fucking terrifying to fight. This weapon can be so fucking terrifying to go up against. And for a very good reason, man. Like, you can... If you're not paying attention, you can literally die in 2 seconds. You'll die before you even get a single parry against this weapon. So, yeah. Next weapon. This is my favorite weapon, probably in the game. One of my favorite weapons in the game. The Bardiche. The Bardiche, one of the most fun weapons to play in SKM, and it's a very good weapon. It's a weapon, it can 2 hit to kill if you hit 2 headshots. It has very good range. It has very good swing manip. It's not too slow, it's not too fast. It has good range, of course, and it doesn't have bad stamina drain. It has good damage too. And it's not a 2 hit to kill weapon, so it doesn't take up the 2 hit to kill spot that you have. And the weapon is just, it's not a broken weapon, and it's not a bad weapon. It's just a very decent weapon, just a good weapon, fun weapon too. I always play this weapon if I don't have like, if I want to play 2 hit to kill, but I can't play 2 hit to kill because my team are already playing it, I'll just pick this weapon instead. This weapon, very good, man. One of my favorite weapons of all time. I definitely recommend you play. If you can't pick, if the pole axe spot or the Zweihander spot is already taken, consider choosing the Bardiche, man. Very good weapon. Alright, the next one. God, I hate this one. The bill hook, man. The bill hook, very broken. The only thing this weapon lacks to become broken is its damage. It doesn't have good damage, but oh my god, this is probably the hardest weapon in the game to parry. I don't know what's up with its animations, but its animations are fucking... They're just unreadable. They're so unreadable. And of course the bill hook has that ability where if you get hit by it, it pulls you towards them, which a lot of people used to. Like you can cheese so much with it. But for SKM, this weapon is very high tier, very good. If it had a little bit more damage, this weapon would be fucking broken. Alright, next up we have the Partisan. This is probably the Partisan and the Falcons are probably the two most they are probably the least popular weapons in the game right now. Even though they're like the newer weapons, but literally no one plays them. The Partisan is very underrated. It's the only weapon in the game that can 2 to kill with a stab. In the tier 3. But the reason why I think not many people play this weapon is because it's I can understand why a lot of people would find this weapon very boring. Because the weapon has a very slow windup. It has a very slow windup. It probably has the worst slashes in the game. Its slashes are so terrible. You can only stab with this weapon. And a lot of players don't know how to deal with this weapon. And for a good reason. Like, you can only stab with this thing, and its stabs are very slow, man. If you wanna duel with this weapon, you need to know how to cheese. You need to know how to play like a fucking... You need to know how to play like an ape. So, but it's actually a very underrated weapon. It has good switching potential. It has the 2 to kill stab in the fucking body. Very broken, man. Very broken, but a lot of people just don't... No one plays this weapon. You never see this weapon, like, ever. But if you pair this weapon up with... If you play Partisan light armor, or like Partisan medium armor, you can have so much impact if you know how to play this weapon. But you can also... It could also be the opposite. You could also throw for your team. But what you want to do if you're playing Partisan, you want to make sure you don't get in a duel. You do not want to get in a duel. You lose all of your value as a Partisan player if you are in a duel. You cannot do anything good for your team. But yeah, underrated weapon. It's just not not a popular weapon at all. No one plays it. But it is a good weapon if you know how to play it. And we have a similar weapon to it. We have the Falcons, which is also... It's also a weapon that is very, very unpopular. And I think one of the reasons why no one likes playing Falcons is because the weapon feels boring to play. It's like the Partisan. It has like... Its windup is very slow. But the thing about the Partisan is that the Partisan, it has everything. Well, almost everything. It has very good damage. It has a little bit 2 to kill potential. It has very good switching potential. It has animations that are very hard to read. It has good stamina drain. But the weapon has slow windup. Very slow windup. And it stabs, man. Oh my god, its stabs are the ugliest stabs in the game. They are not very good. They don't look good. They are slow. They do no damage. They are hard to aim. I don't know why the animation with it is so unique, but it's like you should never use stabs. Never stab with this weapon. It is not worth it. Unless you wanna do it for the memes, but it only has slashes. But it's not a bad weapon. Even though no one plays this weapon, it's actually not bad. For an SKM, this weapon would be better than a lot of weapons. But I understand why you would find this weapon boring, just because of its slow windup, its terrible stabs. So yeah, moving on to the mace. The mace is the second best one-handed weapon in the game. It's a one-handed weapon that can 2 to kill tier 3 in the head and in the torso. The only problem... Actually, there are two problems about the mace. The first problem is that the mace has no range, man. Its range is terrible. Very, very bad range. If it was a dueling tier list, its range wouldn't be that bad, to be honest, but... This is an SKM tier list. This weapon, it has the damage, but it does not have the switching potential. Going for switches with this thing is dangerous. And a huge problem about this weapon is that it takes up the 2-hit to kill spot for your team. This weapon it counts as a true 2-hit to kill, so it takes up that 2-hit to kill spot. And since you don't have any range with this, you're not gonna have that much switching potential. You can't have as much impact. You're gonna be strong in duels, because this weapon is very good for duels, but it's just for SKM. No, it's just go Bastard Sword. Play Bastard Sword over this weapon any day. It's just better than the mace in every single way. But now we're done with the high tiers. Now the high tiers and the broken tiers are gone, so let's move on to the alright tier. God, I need some Sprite first though. Oh, God. Alright. So at the very top of high tier, we have probably my favorite weapon in the game. The Battle Axe is a decent weapon for dueling. It's an okay weapon for SKM. It lacks a lot of range. It needs a little bit of range to be higher tier, but I put it at the top of alright tier because the weapon, it doesn't cost a lot of points to be in your build, which means that you can have a lot of perks. You can have every single perk that you need paired up with this weapon here. The weapon has good damage. You can 2-hit to kill with this weapon if you hit one headshot and one body shot. And the weapon is hard to read. If you're good at swing manipulating with this weapon, it's it's deadly. It's very hard to read. But like I said, it lacks a little bit of range. So I just decided to put it at the alright tier. Alright, next up, we have a very controversial one. This one, I don't know if I even agree with my own decision here. A lot of people would put this at broken tier or high tier. This is the spear. The spear is actually an insane SKM weapon. The reason why at first I put this spear here is because, like, when you play the spear, you have potential to have an insane amount of impact. The impact you can have with this weapon is out of this world, man. It has the most range in the game. It has good stabs. It has the best switching potential. And if you are good at SKM, if you're good at team play, you can do so much with this. You can completely slay out. You can carry your team so hard. But I think the reason why I put it at the alright tier to begin with is because when you play this weapon, it doesn't always like work out for you. You need to have you do not want to end up in a duel when you're playing this weapon. You never want to end up in a duel when you're playing spear. So if your team doesn't know how to properly team fight, if you get left alone, you will crumble. You'll get destroyed, man, and you end up doing no impact with this weapon whatsoever. But if you have a team that knows what they're doing, that knows how to team play, and if you are a player who are good at team playing, you're good at switching, you know what you're doing, this weapon can actually be up at the broken tier. It actually has potential to be at the broken tier for SKM. So if you look at this tier list and you want to put the spear way higher than this, you can do that. I will not blame you for that. I would probably do it as well if I could remake this tier list. So, yeah. What tier are the fists with Brawler? Well, for SKM it would literally be in D tier, but if we're talking about duels, it would probably be D tier too. Yeah, it would be in the worst tier. A fist with Brawler, it actually does a lot of damage. I think it's like 40 kill or something. But you have to one combo. You literally have to one combo, or you're dead. Okay, I need more Sprite. Oh, okay. Moving on. Now we have the short spear. This is a weapon I actually enjoy playing. I like this weapon a lot. It has good switching potential. It has alright damage. It's very hard to read. It has good feints, good morphs. And it's not a 2-2 to kill, so it doesn't even take up the 2 to kill spot. So if you want to play this weapon, go for it. It's a good weapon. The problem is that it can't combo, but I feel like the short spear's ability to not combo doesn't actually affect it that much. Because when you miss with the short spear, you recover so fast that it's like you had a combo. So I feel like it doesn't even hurt the weapon that much. And it stabs 2 to kill in the head. And no one can read this weapon. And it has insane switching potential. And it's good for 1vxing too, because it doesn't have that much turn cap. You can turn a lot with this weapon. It's not a very heavy weapon at all. So if you are someone who plays a lot of one-handed weapons and you're boring of crouching Bastard Sword every single game, and you don't want to take up the 2 to kill spot with the mace, then go for the short spear. Consider going for the short spear, is what I want to say, yeah. Next weapon, a very mid-tier weapon these days, the Messer. I actually don't know if I consider this weapon broken or not, because it's a fast weapon. It actually has better stamina drain than the greatsword for some reason. I think it has 20 stamina drain. The weapon can actually kill very fast because it can combo, and it's very fucking fast. And like, it's not a bad weapon. It's just the weapon just lacks a little bit of range, you know. It needs more range. It doesn't have the best damage in the world, to be honest. It has worse stabs than the greatsword, but I still consider this weapon better than the greatsword just because it's like the Messer feels a lot more threatening. It's better at killing, in my opinion. And that leads me over to the greatsword, which I'm kind of disappointed. I wish this is like one of the most popular weapons in the game, one of the main weapons of Mordhau, but the greatsword is just not. It's the most. The problem about the greatsword is that the weapon is too fair. It has the worst stamina drain in the game. The greatsword only has, what is it, 18, 19 stamina drain? That's like the worst stamina drain a weapon can have, man. Or at least a two-handed weapon. It's a weapon that 3 hit to kills, so it doesn't have insane damage. It does have alright stabs. It has alright slashes. It's just an alright weapon, but it's just not a very threatening weapon. The weapon is too fair, man. And it's the same in duels. I think the greatsword is probably even weaker in duels. It just lacks the damage. It lacks most importantly the stamina drain. Yeah, I think that's about it. That's about it for greatsword. Greatsword is for first 10 only. I kind of agree there. If you want a first 10, I think if 2 players plays greatsword is the most fair. It's the most fair way to do a first 10. Oh yeah, and the greatsword, it costs a lot of points too. So that means if you play greatsword and full heavy armor, you can't even pair up the greatsword with any good perks. You can't even play with second win unless you put a tier 2 leg armor on. Which I probably wouldn't recommend a lot. I recommend everyone to do that if you use this weapon a lot in duels. If you always play greatsword in duels, make a class that has 3-3-2, just so that you have enough points to get the second win on the greatsword. It's worth it, in my opinion. Always correct. Alright. Oh. Now it's the rapier. So the rapier, a very weak weapon for SKM, but it does have more potential because it can the weapon is unparryable, especially its slashes, man. It has the most unreadable feints in the game. the most unreadable feints, the most unreadable slash, insane stabs, it can combo, it's extremely fast, it has literally no turn cap. Turn cap doesn't exist for this weapon. But like I said, it's a weak weapon. You need to hit. The weapon is like 10 hit to kill with the slashes, and it's like 4 to kill with the stabs. So I just decided to put it in the alright tier. If this weapon had more damage, it would definitely be better, without a doubt. I think this weapon would be higher for duels, to be honest, but not top tier. But yeah, that's about it for the rapier. It's an alright weapon. You can make the weapon work, but there's just better options. Like, why would you ever pick rapier over Bastard Sword? There's just no need to do that. All right, the S stock. So S stock, not a very popular weapon. I never see this weapon anymore. It's a weapon that has bad slashes, but it's like a stabbing weapon only. It has alright switching potential. It can 2-hit to kill in the head, 2-3 head with a stab, I believe. But even though the weapon is not bad, the weapon is just, it's outclassed. It's outclassed by so many options. You can, if you want to go for a stabbing only weapon, you have so many better options. Even the rapier is a better option. Why would you not play rapier? Why would you not play short spear? Why would you not play spear? Why would you not play partisan? Why would you not play bastard sword? Every other stabbing weapon is better. Almost every other stabbing weapon. So, like, if you want to play the S stock because you like the weapon, go for it. You can make it work. But there's just so many better options, you know? Next on, we move to the longsword. Longsword is one of my favorite weapons in the game. This weapon is so satisfying to play. I love this weapon. It's so fun to play. And in duels, this weapon would be very high tier. This weapon, very good for duels. But in SKM, the problem is just that it's a worse version of the greatsword. A weapon that's already not that good in my opinion. It's a greatsword with less range. Literally, in SKM, the longsword is just a greatsword with less range. That's all I see in this weapon. I play this weapon very often in SKM, but that's only because I have fun with this weapon. If I want to win, if I want to slay out, there are many better options. But I think it depends on what game mode you're playing. Are you playing 2v2? Are you playing 3v3? Are you playing 5v5? I think it's different. Because if you're playing 2v2, or 3v3, I think this weapon is stronger there. But in a 5v5, I don't know what you can do to fucking... I don't know what you can do to have a high impact with this weapon. It's very hard to play. It's just not worth it. Almost no switching potential. No, weak damage. Not that much range, you can easily miss. Not a very threatening weapon, to be honest. But if you want to play this weapon for duels, it's broken. It's broken. Go for it. In duels, I consider longsword a better greatsword, yeah. But in SKM, I consider the longsword a worse greatsword. It's actually funny. Okay, now we're done with all the good tiers. Now we're moving on to the weaker weapons in this game. Or at least in SKM. So, starting off, I don't know if I want to talk about all of these individually. I feel like all of these right here, they have a lot of things in common. I'm gonna tell you guys right now why all of these weapons right here, why that they are in this tier. So, all of these weapons, they are extremely fast, but they also have 0 range, 0 switching potential. They don't have more damage. They just have... A lot of these weapons are like 4 hit to kill, 3 hit to kill. So they're not very threatening in SKM. And they don't have any good stamina drain. These weapons, like, they're very risky to, like... If you play one of these weapons, you're better off just trying to feint spam. like try and cheese with them, because if you try and swingman it, it's so easy to mess up your swings with these weapons. They are very hard to swingman it with. These weapons are extremely hard to swingman it, because they're so fast and they have like no turn cap. So yeah, I mean they are better in duels than they are in SKM. But in SKM, all of these weapons are just worse. they're worse longswords. They are just worse longswords. So I actually want to talk about the arming sword, because the arming sword is the last weapon in this list that I consider a real weapon. These weapons from here on, they're just meme weapons. The arming sword is the last weapon that I consider a real weapon, but it's the worst weapon in this tier list. And the reason why is because I think that the arming sword used to be better when we had, like, before the insane battle sword nerf, or the insane battle sword buff, I mean. The arming sword is just such a weak weapon compared to the battle sword. The battle sword is an arming sword that literally does everything 10 times better than the arming sword. The arming sword, it has no range. It's most of the time 4 hit to kill. I mean, sometimes I like playing the arming sword, but god, it's probably the weakest weapon in the game. Like, at least a weapon like Warhammer has a lot of damage. It has some 2 hit to kill potential, even though it doesn't have any range. But the arming sword has nothing going for it. Does it have damage? No. Does it have stamina drain? No. Does it have range? No. The only thing it has is speed and alright feints. But so does this weapon, man. Why would you ever pick Battle Sword over Arming Sword? Or Arming Sword over Battle Sword is what I mean. Why would you ever pick Arming Sword over Battle Sword? There's no reason to. I don't even find Arming Sword fun to play. Sometimes I do, but I mean, I like playing Arming Sword, but every time I pick the Arming Sword, I can't help but be disappointed every single time. I always switch away from the Arming Sword. So, yeah. Is there anything else to talk about here? All of these weapons are basically meme weapons, to be honest. Actually, I could talk about the training sword, because the training sword used to be better, actually. In the old days of Mordhau, this is a long time ago, I can't remember when this was, but the training sword used to be like, everyone used to have at least one training sword in their build for dueling. Just because it's chamber slash, and it's stab chamber, it didn't cost stamina back then. So every time someone got outstammed, they would pick up the training sword and just start chambering all they could until they got saved by their team or something. But obviously that's no more thing. This weapon is not even a real weapon. It's just a meme weapon now. And then we have the mallet, which is the worst weapon in the game. You'll lose this weapon in 2-3 parries. You lose like 40-30 stamina per parry, and it does no damage. I don't know if it's even better than carving knife. Maybe it is better than carving knife. I don't know. But yeah, I think that wraps out. I think that's about it for this tier list. This is basically how the weapons look like right now in SKM/comp. I don't know if this tier list would be future-proof. If I had to guess, I think this tier list would actually be future-proof for the next 1 to 2 years. Or even forever, just because we never get updates anymore in this game. We never get updates anymore, and the devs are working on a new game. They're probably gonna abandon Mordhau, who knows, so... if I had to guess, I would say this tier list is probably gonna be future-proof. But this is what it looks like right now. But this was my opinion. A lot of people agreed with me. There were some places where I mentioned that a lot of people would probably not agree, and that's fine. But yeah, they're working on a new game or a new project, so I think it's safe to assume that they're not gonna they're probably not gonna do much with Mordhau. I don't know how many more updates Mordhau is getting. So, yeah. I think that's about it.